The last two methods, the second last method is something called salt addition. अब जब नाम salt addition है, then it should be clear that कहीं ना कहीं water is used, right? Because salts are usually soluble in water. So that is actually the case here. What happens is, let's just take it with an example. हम एक ऑयल सल्यूबल विटामिन लेट्स से लेते हैं, ओके, एंड वी डिसॉल्व दिस इन कॉर्न ऑयल. Okay, so let's say this is the oil soluble vitamin in corn oil. This is corn oil, and this is the oil soluble vitamin. We are going to be dissolving this, which gives you a clear solution, right? So this is a solution. This is vitamin. Now what we will do is ये पूरा solution जो है इसे हम add करेंगे inside of pig skin gelatin. Okay, so let's say blue color का जो है वो pig skin gelatin है, and you have emulsified that solution up top to a desired particle size. So this is the emulsified solution of vitamin plus corn oil. Okay, और ये जो blue color में है ये है pig skin gelatin. Now the thing is, हमें जो चाहिए वो है कि ये जो pig skin gelatin है, हमें ये चाहिए कि जो corn oil है वो pig skin gelatin के अराउंड ऐसा लेयर फॉर्म करे. हमें ये चाहिए. दिस इज आवर फाइनल एम. ओके, बट इन दिस केस व्हाट वी हैव इज अ सॉल्यूशन in which you have pig skin gelatin, in which there is emulsified solution of vitamin plus corn oil. So what we need to do is we need to do some steps जिसके थ्रू हम ये obtain कर पाएंगे. The final product after those steps will be this. So what we do is we will go ahead and mix two phases. We have this particular phase again, the pig skin wala, in which there is emulsified vitamin plus corn oil. Along with that though, we will also have water. Okay, so what we are doing is making an emulsion all over again. We are making an oil in water emulsion here. Okay, this is usually around it is around 20 parts to 100 parts. So 20 oil and 100 water. This is the emulsion that we usually form. Now what we do is we need to, obviously we don't need a water in the end product. So what we need to do is we need to add a salt. Okay, so let's say this is the pig skin gelatin again. We have these particles here again, and we have water. But now what we are going to be doing is we will be adding, not this color, just hold on, red color. We will be adding a salt. As the name suggests, salt addition होगा यहाँ पर. In this case, the salt we are going to be adding is sodium sulfate salt. Okay, so what this will do is हमारे पास एक ऐसा मिक्सचर आएगा. Since water में हमने salt add किया है, what we will be getting is we will be getting a layer of water along with the solubilized sodium sulfate, because salts are always soluble in water. So we have this layer which is water plus solubilized sodium sulfate. This is one layer that we will be getting. And the second layer that we will be getting is, let me just see the color here. Okay, white color. We will be getting these particles again. But this time around, the pigskin gelatin is also going to be in particle form. Okay, so the liquid form that we had for pigskin gelatin here, in which the corn oil and vitamin were emulsified, this time we have individual particles for it. Now, if we just go ahead and stir it, what we will get is we can just remove this layer of water by a various methods. We don't have to learn those in detail right now. But what we will get is that once we have removed this off, what we will get is a solution in which pigskin gelatin is in the solution form as well as in droplet form, which will give us this micro encapsulated vitamin A plus corn oil particles. So this is pigskin gelatin, and this in the middle is vitamin A solubilized in corn oil again. Okay, so this was the end product that we needed, that I just showed right here. That is what we are getting right here. Okay, so that is another method of microencapsulation. And the last method, which is not all that important, itna zaruri nahi hai, is polymer-polymer interactions. Okay, now incompatible polymer addition and polymer-polymer interactions, दोनों बहुत similar sound करता है, but they are completely different. In this case, what we will be doing is we will be adding two polymers which are going to form a complex with each other. Okay, so let's take an example. If we want them to form a complex, we need them to have opposite charges, right? Because वो ऐसे ही कुछ भी अगर हमारे पास कोई एक क्राइटेरिया नहीं होगा तो वो रैंडमली कॉम्प्लेक्स फॉर्म नहीं कर पाएंगे. सो व्हाट वी नीड इज ऑपोजिट चार्जेस on the polymer at a particular pH. The pH can be varied, that is not a problem, but जो charge होगा वो opposite होना चाहिए. So what we usually take as an example in such cases is the example of gum arabic plus gelatin. Okay, so gum arabic जो है इसका और gelatin जो है, gelatin का isoelectric point, यानी कि जब वो एक न्यूट्रल स्पीशीज है, even though there is charge with two equal and opposite charges, that is what you call isoelectric point. यानी उसके पास एक नेगेटिव एंड एक पॉजिटिव है, दो नेगेटिव एंड दो पॉजिटिव चार्जेस है, सो ओवरऑल इट इज न्यूट्रल. ये isoelectric point जो है that is around 5. Okay, so what we do is we take the pH to less than 5, which means less than the isoelectric point of gelatin. And what happens is at this pH, gum arabic जो है that is negatively charged because that is acidic, and gelatin is positively charged. Okay, so we have two opposite charges at a particular pH in this case. So gum arabic and gelatin will be the the two polymers which will be interacting with each other. So what we do is we make a mixture of gelatin plus gum arabic. ये दोनों जाएंगे water में 2% each. Okay, that is the solution that we will be making. So let's say this is the solution that we have. This, let's say, is water. I know, white water, right? Let's show gelatin with a green color, Okay, so this is gelatin, and this, never mind, this gum arabic is what we are showing to be showing in blue color. Okay, so we have 2% each in solution of water, and then what we will be doing is we'll just take the red color, and we will be adding the core material, which is methyl salicylate. Okay, this is the core material, and we have the two polymers. Okay, so the thing is, in this polymer interaction type, in this type we also have a component of temperature change. Okay, so usually just polymer interaction से micro encapsulation complete नहीं हो पाएगा. We have to have a component of temperature change in this as well. Okay, so we heat it. We heat this entire solution to around 40 to 45 degrees Celsius, and we have it at a 4.5 pH, which is below the isoelectric point of gelatin. Okay, so what is going to start happening at these levels of parameters is that we will end up having complexes which are formed between the two polymers that are obviously going to be interacting, and which was ultimately our goal. So हमारे पास ये सब complexes बन कर आएंगे, and except for that we will obviously have methyl salicylate as the core material, right? So once we have these complexes, the advantage of these complexes is that it will be able to form a coat around the core material more easily as compared to just a normal polymer that you would have added. Okay, so what you do is you form these complexes, and then you start cooling the solution down again. So as I said, temperature का एक component इसमें आएगा. So you just cool it down to 25 degrees Celsius, and what you will see is you have these core materials here, and what you have around them is a coating of a complex, right? So this is a complex between gelatin and gum arabic, which is an example of polymer interaction. So these are the micro capsules that you are getting from this method. Okay, so these were all the methods for micro encapsulation that we have learned. Just as a tiny revision, we have temperature change, we have incompatible polymer addition, we have non-solvent addition, we have a polymer interaction, and I think I missed one. Salt addition, right? So these are the methods for phase separation conservation. After all these steps, what you have to do is, which we don't have in detail, that's why I'm not going to be covering it as much as I have covered the rest of them. But what we do after this is, let's say this is our core material, and let's say this is our coating material, the polymer which has formed microcapsules. What you have to do is a process or a step called rigidization. What that means is that these separate coating material particles that have formed the microcapsules, these are going to be rigidized, as in they are going to be made stronger. The bond between them is going to be made stronger. So you will have kind of literally a coat. You can see here, यहाँ पर आपको एक coat ही दिखेगा. So that is what you will have in the end. This will be the final microcapsule, जो actually बहुत ज़्यादा fragile भी नहीं है जितने ये fragile है, because the bond between the coating material particles is not as good as the one we have after rigidization. Okay, so rigidization is the last process, but except for that, you just have to explain all of these different types of methods to separate the phases in exam. So yes, that's it. Thank you for watching.